Welcome to the big reveal. We are so excited. Everyone, LAPU is so excited to announce that we are introducing course assistants powered by AI and a sweet company called Nectar to every single one of our courses at LAPU. This is a powerful tool to help you practice and learn and brainstorm and gain additional knowledge and support for learning as you work through your course and its content. Every single one of our course assistants has been specifically trained for your course content. I'm excited to introduce them to you today, and I've got a couple guests with us I'll introduce in just a moment. But let me tell you, these course assistants are fabulous. Let me introduce you to Spark. This is Spark. He is our LAPU course assistant. And if we put up my screen share here, I'll show you what you'll experience when you come into any course at LAPU. Right here, this is Spark. When you come in, you're going to see Spark is going to be able to explain complex concepts in a clear and concise way. You have trouble understanding something, Spark will help you. So cool. We're going to show you this feature. You have trouble with your course assignments. Spark can help you brainstorm, discussion, and assignment ideas to help you get unstuck. Super helpful. It can strengthen your writing for clear and powerful communication. So you can actually share. This is what my discussion post. How could I improve this post? You can also connect your course material to your life and goals. Does a great job of understanding who you are as you interact with it, and then giving you ideas and helping you to connect what you're learning with how it relates to your real life. And then also it can explore the intersection of your faith, your life, and your learning as you begin to understand who God is and how you interact with him and your world, and how the learning interacts with your belief in him is pretty powerful tool. And we're going to explore some ways that happens today. I want to introduce to you today, though, our guests, Dr. Brent and Dr. Craig Brewer. Both are lecturers here at LAPU, and Craig Brewer is also an assistant dean. And both of these guys piloted our first iteration of Spark in their courses. Dr. Brent Himes piloted Lucas, which is a Luke Acts Bible 230 course assistant, and Craig piloted Scibot. I think we said it was Sci-Fi, who is a introduction to psychology course assistant. And I just want to hear from you guys today. Welcome, and thanks for joining us. But can you share what your first impressions were when we told you we're going to try out an AI course assistant in your courses? And then after you began to use it and your students began to use it, what was that experience like? And how did you find this tool to be useful to you as lecturers?
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. I'm excited to be here. I'll admit that as a good faculty member, I was skeptical. Right, that's like part of our job is to be skeptical of things like this. I was thinking, it's going to be a Bible class. I bet I can stump it in my first couple questions, and I was just blown away. Not only did it give great responses because we trained it on the material for the course, it sounded like things, and it explained things in a way that sounded like our course. It didn't sound like it pulled out from who knows where, some random stuff. The way that these assistants are trained in such great alignment with who we are, and it sounded like answers that I would give. And sometimes I would give an answer to a student, and then I would send them to Lucas, and they would get another response that reinforced things I said. So I quickly was won over by the active learning that happened, and just by the quality of the assistants.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive, and you'll see that today as we showcase these, how it engages with the learner and constantly keeps you digging into more and taking a topic and really digging down into it. It's pretty impressive. Craig, how about you? How was your experience with the bots?
I too was skeptical, just as Brant had mentioned initially, and I began to engage with Sci-Fi early on myself and began to ask questions of Sci-Fi about the course. And one of the amazing things that I took away from it, it almost felt as though I had the author of the textbook right there with me, and I'm going back and forth with the author of the text. And the other amazing thing is that sci-fi continued to ask me questions every time at the end of that question. And so it felt really engaging and dynamic for me as a faculty member. And so I've just had a very positive experience with it. And also for the students, there's a number of different complex topics that we have in the course. And it's been such a great tool to refer students to say, hey, have a conversation with sci-fi about that, and then come back to me and let me hear what you've learned.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. Let's dive in here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to kind of showcase sci-fi. Let's start off with a little screen share here and see how Spark can help explain complex topics. I'm actually going to jump over, this is our kind of our testing ground here. I'm going to jump over to sci-fi because I really appreciated some of the things that it can do, especially in relation to complex course topics like psychology. And I know, Craig, you can share a little bit about your experience here with the students. But as we're exploring the complex topics, let's one of the things that's a big part of Psych 105, I think, is different psychology and theories. And we had an experience with a student who was really trying to understand cognitive-based therapy and how that helps people. So I'm going to just type that in. Craig, why don't you talk a little bit about your students' experiences? You don't have to speak specifically to this one, but how did their engagement with sci-fi help them understand those theories better? What kind of testimonies did you get from students?
So I heard back from about 7 or 8 of my students who utilize this. One of the assignments we have in the Psych 105 class is they have to grapple with pulling 2 different theories, psychological theories. So cognitive behavioral is one, developmental, behavioral. There's a number of different options for students, but this is an assignment where students typically struggle. It's hard for them to take this precipitating event and then frame it in the context of a psychological theory. So I encourage them to go back and forth with sci-fi at least 5 times about the theory. And the feedback that I got from all of them was that they were much more clear after engaging in that activity and had a strong sense of what they needed to do. They had a better sense of the differences within the theories as well. So all of the feedback that I got from students who utilize this was that it helped them to better prepare to write that paper.
That's awesome. Let me kind of explain how sci-fi and our other Spark, our other course assistants are going to help in this sense. They've been trained with a specific prompt that was modified from some prompts that Microsoft had offered to the public in their GitHub about a great way to set up AI with a tutor. So we have this starting prompt that asks the assistant to consider what the person learning level is, to consider, start by asking them what they already know about a topic, different things. And I started out this conversation rather than just saying hello. I actually asked it specifically, can you help me understand cognitive-based therapy and how it will help people? And here I get this incredible understanding. Now, we've trained each of our course assistants on all of the course topic introductions, any kind of assignment instructions, no one's papers or actual work, but all the instructions for completing activities within the course. If the course had an open educational resource as a textbook and it was available for download, we would download it and add it to the assistant as training data. And so here it's just talking about how the main goal of CBT is to identify and change cognitive distortions. There's a really great example here about it's primarily focused on present issues rather than delving into past experiences. Like some therapy takes you back. So that's kind of a cool learning point. And then it gives a really great example here. If a person often thinks I'm worthless when they make a mistake, CBT therapists would help them recognize this thought as a cognitive distortion. Everyone makes mistakes. It doesn't make us worthless. This pretty cool example. And it's been asked to do that, to bring real life examples. But what's really neat is at the end of every response from our course assistants, it will then ask the students to take that thinking and then, ask some kind of question around it. Here I'm being asked, based on what I've explained, can you tell me how you think CBT might help someone who is struggling with negative thoughts and behavior? I'm going to say, just for the sake of this conversation, it kind of reminds me a growth mindset. It would help me to think more positively. And the assistant's going to go to work here. Brant, do you have any examples of how in Bible 230 students were able to grow and understand a little better based on their interactions with the assistant?
Yeah, absolutely. In one of the weekly discussion forums, I can think of this example. Students are supposed to pull out a parable from the Gospel of Luke. And sometimes that's an unfamiliar word, parable. It's a very kind of Bible term. And so I've had students ask Lucas, can you help me understand a parable? Can you help me choose a parable, to help me on this assignment? And just some really neat interactions where first, Lucas says, sure, I'd be happy to help. First, can you tell me what you think a parable might be? And, you could, well, I think, is the Good Samaritan a parable? Oh yeah, that's a great example. And then it does this back and forth. And then after it explains some parables and gives some examples, and it asks the student, now that you know more about what a parable is, can you think of another example of one that could be? And so it was a really great example of how there was this concept that maybe is a little unfamiliar, this interesting word that's in the assignment, and then having a conversation and really going in deep and helping them to do well on the assignment. I've even had students, and I definitely encourage this. I want to see the Spark or Lucas or whoever your course assistant is. I want to see citations that you talked to the course assistant in the discussion forum and in your papers. We'll provide guidance on how to cite that. But even if it, in an informal way, you could say, I was talking with Spark, and I asked about this question, and I got this response. That helps us as professors know that, you're engaged in this learning tool, and it helps us to see the kind of interactions and the kind of learning that you have. We want to encourage that. These course assistants are really elevating your ability as a student to have active learning no matter what. 24/7, you can go in and just have these incredible learning experiences, and we want to see how you're using those and see some citations in the forums. I can't wait to see more and more of those over time, and see how our discussions just as a whole, as a university, I think really can come to a new level in our discussion forums with the interactions that our students can have with these course assistants.
Yeah, I think these engagements really feel like conversations. And, I think even one of our own student testimonials said, I feel like if I wouldn't have stopped the chat, it could have kept going on and on and on. And I learned so much, but I just ran out of time. That's the cool part about this feature. Now, we are in a private beta that's being released in May. It'll go live in May. And we are preparing to have like a chat history, so you can go back and look at previous chats. There's a lot of things that are in the works. We're kind of showing you the beta before the actual launch of this actual tool. So it's pretty cool, the number of things you could do. The second thing I want to highlight today is how you can brainstorm using Spark. This is an incredible opportunity here. I'm going to jump back into that IST 101. And we have a dog. Thankful live streams are live, and that is wonderful, and we're good with that. So this is RST 101, and one of our course assignments in this course is understanding the why. And I'm just going to start off with, I'm really stuck on how to begin my understanding my why assignment. Can you help me? And this is going to be a really simple interaction here. And I think hopefully, if everything works as intended, we're going to get some really great feedback from our course assistant on how to begin. What am I hoping to learn or achieve through this assignment? I want to know why I am attending college. Again, I'm making this up. I don't even know the basis. I don't, but I don't know. But I'm just gonna say I don't know how to start this assignment. You don't have to worry about even like spelling errors. I'm just going to start there. I don't know how to start this assignment. So we're just going to start giving me some ideas. So I'm trying to understand my motivations. That's a great starting point. Now, this is where that prompt is coming into play. What do you know already, or have you thought about regarding my reasons for coming back to school? I need a higher paying job. We're just going to jump right into the truth and just give it what it needs. I'm just making that up. Well, obviously we all could use higher paying jobs. That's wonderful, but there's a very practical reason, a common one too. Now let's dig a little deeper. Besides the financial aspect, are there other reasons that motivated you to pursue higher education again? Perhaps a personal goal or a passion for a particular field. So now it's starting to dive into some of those aspects. I'm going to jump over to the course again. Let's look at that assignment and see if it's connecting with the actual instructions. I think this could be useful. Your why is your purpose, passion, and the reason you do what you do. I think we're already getting a really good job here. It's going to create personal clarity, sustain and drive motivation, enhance performance, build resilience and grit. So the instructions are spend some time thinking about your motivation. So I feel like we're already on par here. This course assistant is helping me nail down some things that are going to help me reflect and answer the questions in my worksheet. Which we probably should train the assistant on, which we're going to have to do a little more thorough search, I think, in some of our courses, because it could actually tie that template to the responses, which we haven't gone that far, but all the instructions here, all of this, all the things that are on this page have been trained. Every one of your course assistants has this data to help you begin to work through those instructions and help you brainstorm that conversation. Craig or Brant, what kind of experience did any of your students express any kind of assistance with working through their assignments? And what was that like?
I can start. One of the students who reached out was inquiring with Sci-Fi about career opportunities, just to brainstorm about different career opportunities, clinical psychology versus forensic psychology. And at that time, Sci-Fi hadn't been trained on that. So Sci-Fi responded by saying, I don't have the training to respond to the questions you're posing. I circled back with you, Mike, and we uploaded a number of different resources from APA on career opportunities. And I had that same student go back in and ask again about clinical psychology versus forensic psychology. And then the student came back and said, oh, wow, now I really understand it. So there's something about the way in which Sci-Fi is able to take that information that we provide and just communicate with students in a really straightforward and simple type of way that it helps them to get that information and hear it in a different way than they might from reading something. And so, again, it's just been an amazing resource. One of my students, in fact, was worried about going into the next course for summer one, saying, I'm not going to have Sci-Fi in this next course. And I was able to say, no, actually, summer one, all of our courses are going to have AI assistance throughout. So that's just a great example of how excited that student actually felt anxious to say, I don't know, I don't really want to do this without Sci-Fi. I just thought, wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Thank you.
That's great.
Grant?
Yeah, I was thinking about in terms of brainstorming, one of the other concepts. So in the Bible courses, we do these storybook projects. And in the New Testament class, the Luke and Acts class, we ask students to explore the themes of creation, fall, and redemption. And when we come to the New Testament, and we're trying to explore the theme of creation, it can seem a little disconnected. Well, creation happens in Genesis. What am I supposed to do to find that theme in the New Testament? And I've had students, and I've done this myself, ask Lucas, can you help me understand how I can, where does this theme of creation appear in Luke and Acts? And again, that great back and forth conversation of brainstorming and giving different examples and ideas and asking what the students know. And that was another really great example, I think, of seeing, okay, here's a concept. I'm familiar maybe with it in one area, but in the New Testament, I'm not sure. And so being able to ask Lucas has been really great for students.
Yeah, what a neat opportunity that every student would have access to these kind of tools whenever and however. And they're not just like the internet, right? Like they're not just
Right.
going and then getting something from a different faith background or religion, or even a non-biblical text that, you know, we may not ascribe to in what we believe. These assistants are trained on our faith statement. They're trained on our different aspects of that, which is really cool. Craig, you brought up an interesting point that we want to highlight today. Feedback is so important for understanding how these assistants are helping you or not helping you, right? So we've kind of depended on you during the pilot to give us that information and to bring that feedback back to us. But if we want to jump to the screen share here, I want to show you, we actually have integrated now a feedback mechanism where you can just click right here and then enter your name and email and feedback and click submit. And this will go to us, the managers of the course assistants. It'll help us understand if there's an area of weakness that we need to maybe buffer, if it's strong. If you're getting a really strange response that you're not sure about, feel free to add that information in the feedback box. And if you want us to contact you even, I would say, man, we want these things to support you as students and faculty to grow. If you have feedback for us on how your course assistant is working or not working, please use this tool. This is so powerful and simple to just share my experience. And we want your testimonies. We want to know how this has helped or where it's struggling, so we can come in. And it really takes very short amount of time for us to come in and highlight and change some of that training material, like Craig was saying earlier.
Yeah,
it's such a neat tool.
Yeah, Mike, I was just going to say, I think it's also important to remember that each Spark is trained differently on each course. And so if you're taking two courses, if you're taking Bible and psychology and you ask the psychology bot Bible questions, it's not going to know because we're limiting kind of what it's trained on so that they're more effective in the particular class that you're in. So if you're in multiple classes, use the Spark that's for your class you're in, because again, we're taking the time to train each course assistant with each individual course material. And that's what gives them their power. If we try and do one huge bot or one big course assistant, probably wouldn't work as well, I imagine. I'm not the tech person, but that's just
that's a really good point. Go ahead, Craig.
There's another piece I wanted to share with you. So many of our students today go to Google. When they're stumped, they go to Google. The problem with that is they end up with all these resources that aren't necessarily helpful. And so my hope is that instead of going to Google, our students will go to the AI assistant in their course. And then they're going to get the right feedback, the right resources to really help them to improve as a student.
Yeah. Let me show you guys, let me show everyone here this really neat aspect. Now, I'm obviously a manager of these tools, and so I have back-end access. As students, you won't see these settings, but let me just kind of show you how this is laid out from the back end. I think this is really helpful. Going to require me to log in again. You just use your LAPU email address. Great little plug. Let's make sure it pops back up where we need it to be. Yeah, okay, here we go. So I am in the settings for this bot, and in the knowledge training, you have various levels you could train your course assistants on, and we've chosen the limited knowledge. And what we understand this to be is it takes all of the knowledge that we've uploaded here, all these different files and things that are training this course assistant, and then it creates like a framework by which it can then go out and pull additional information related to the framework that we've created. Fabulous that we have tested this in a multitude of ways. In our Bible course, we were trying to get it to, it asked me a question. I was doing a test on Bible 100, which has to do with Deuteronomy and Exodus, and I was asking it asked me, like, what do I know about Exodus and Deuteronomy, and I brought up this prophet from another religion, and they said, well, that's not really from the Bible or Christian faith. And it brought me back to the framework that it has been trained on, and then introduced me to Moses, who is a major character in Exodus, if you don't know. But yeah, so the incredible thing, and then this is the prompt, just says you're an upbeat, encouraging course assistant. I'm not going to walk you through the whole prompt, but basically you need to ask them a question and then come back and then let them respond and then gauge their understanding, give them some examples. There's a really great prompt for this. And that's just kind of how that works. Let me jump back to the bot again. And then here, so it's super helpful, super powerful, and an incredible tool. So I want to jump to, we're running out of time here, so I want to jump to another aspect of Spark here, and that Spark can help strengthen your writing, and it's pretty awesome to see this at play. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fake something here. Can you review my discussion post below and give me some guidance on how I can make it stronger? Now, I have not tested this, and I'm going to fake a discussion post. I really appreciate all of the tools that LAPU provides me. I think that the access to success coaches is great, right? So I'm just going to do a really short prompt. We actually have a word requirement in most of our discussions, but let's see what kind of feedback we get from our course assistant. And see what it says. I'm thrilled to hear that you're finding the resource at LAPU beneficial, especially the access to success coaches. I'd be more than happy to help you strengthen your discussion posts. Firstly, it's great that you've expressed your appreciation. However, to make your post more engaging and insightful, you may want to delve deeper into specifics. Already getting some really great feedback from the course assistants. So discuss how they've directly impacted my learning experience, or how the success coaches have helped me in my academic journey. And then it asks me a question, and this is the coolest aspect of these tools, I think, is that it's constantly asking me, how can you give me an example? Here's what I think, can you give me an example? And challenging me to take what I'm learning and apply it to my life. This kind of hits this point as well, right? So it's connecting my life and my learning right here in this example. How have they been helpful to me? And is there a situation where they maybe guided me through a challenging assignment or a tool to help me understand the complex concept better? Such a great example. And I'll just say, yes, I have an example. What else should I consider? Let's just see what it says. You may want to actually know that example. I don't know. Let's find out. We're going to learn together. That's great. Including a specific example will definitely strengthen your discussion post. And I love this. This is kind of a new feature. And now once it's done generating, it did a minute ago, it jumped down to the bottom of the post. I think they're working on that, so you can see that it's finished. But you just make sure you're scrolling, make sure you're watching that as it unfolds, because sometimes it like cuts off here and you think it's done, and you may respond to it, but there may actually be more at the bottom. So scroll down just in case there. But here it says, are there other tools or resources you wish were available? So this is a great feedback item. Put that into your discussion post, right? Constructive feedback is just as valuable as positive feedback. It helps the university understand the needs of its students better and make necessary improvements. I'm just going to say, yes, I wish all of our courses had an assistant like you. I'm going to butter this one up and see how it goes. And here we have, let's see what it says about that writing prompt. That's such a kind thing to say. Thank you. See, it has a personality. And really, you can, in 1960, they introduced an AI called, I think it was Elsie. I can't remember exactly the name of it. But anyways, they stopped it and shut it down because people were forming bonds with this machine, and because people feel safe. And we want you to, at LAPU, if you're a student at LAPU and you're using one of our course assistants, we want you to know this is a safe space. You don't have to be at any learning level point. You don't have to worry about judgment from this course assistants. These course assistants are here to support you and help you learn. And if you feel like you're not competent on a topic, ask this course assistant and see how it can help you understand the topic better, and then give you a better grounding to enter the discussion post. Make sure you cite. We do adhere to our AI policy. We do not want you to just copy and paste responses from this bot. We want you to grow and learn, but cite it. Let us know that you're using the bot. Let your professors know you're using the bot. And that is an acceptable way to use this to grow and learn, and just continue to just like use it as a reference for your materials. Now, we do also often require, that you go to actual peer-reviewed articles and journals, which you'll find in the LAPU library and different places like that. So we do want you to use those, but use this as a tool to help you learn, and let us know you're using it. That's going to be a really incredible opportunity. So just jumping back, there's some other ways that this has helped you, but I think we're kind of out of time here. Here it is again. It's asking me again, would you like to add anything else to your discussion post? Like, it's constantly just ready to serve, ready to help. Any other feedback, Brant or Craig, that you guys have had in this experience? I just want to highlight that life and learning, but also we are training all of our bots on our statement of faith. So there is a basis for taking this concept and applying it to faith. And so, like, if I ask this bot, how can I connect this discussion post to my faith, it's going to give me ideas and understandings on how faith might impact the resources that I'm using. I was doing a test earlier and I was like kind of astounded at how well it did to make me think about how my belief in God, or if you don't believe in God, state that. Talk with the bot about that. That's okay. We accept all individuals at LAPU and of all faith backgrounds. So if you have a challenging issue with something in one of our courses, talk with the bot about it and see if it can maybe help you understand from a different point of view, and talk with it about that thing, because this is a really incredible tool that I think is going to enhance learning. Brant or Craig, do you guys have any additional feedback on your experience using these things in your courses and how the assistants might continue to benefit students or professors? We're probably going to have some professors watching this live stream here. How has it impacted your journey teaching this past term?
Yeah, I'll just say to kind of piggyback on the faith connection question, that was one thing I was very curious about, especially in the Bible courses. And I had some great conversations with Lucas, our course assistant, where I took kind of the posture of someone who wasn't sure what they thought about faith, uncertain what they thought about Jesus, and just had some really good conversations that were very safe, that were non-judgmental, that were open, that were connected to the course. And I felt like I know at LAPU as a whole, we're really trying to foster just honest conversations about faith and about Christianity. And I was very impressed with the way that happened. And so just want to reiterate that connection. And I'll say that's also something we're working more on, is to provide more material that can help students engage their faith questions. I'll also say, just from a professor perspective, I did do some testing on even providing student feedback in papers. And I'll say that I'm looking forward to more opportunities in the future to use these course assistants to help provide really great, timely feedback to our students. That I see it as a partnership where, as the professor, I have my things in my way and the feedback that I give, and there's other things that the course assistant can maybe focus on, even APA or grammar or things like this. And I think I see just a really exciting future where there's just really robust feedback for students that the professors and the course assistants can really work together to bring forward.
That's phenomenal. Thank you. Go ahead, Greg.
I couldn't agree more with Brant on that. When it comes to grading, What an amazing tool, especially for APA writing. Oftentimes our faculty say, the content, I've got a lot of content feedback to provide, but I also need to provide the APA writing feedback, and that can be a challenge. So for our faculty, this is a tool that can help you to provide that APA writing feedback so you can focus more on the content, helps us to be more efficient with our time, to really create a sense of belonging for our students. That's really our primary focus. And I'll just add, Mike, to your earlier point, several of the students in my courses last term were listing in the discussion. I reached out to Sci-Fi, and this is what Sci-Fi had to share. So they were just sharing their experience, and they were using the tool. And I'm just so excited that we can be on the cutting edge of this and provide our students with this amazing tool, which I just see it taking off. I think we're just at the beginning phases of this, but so far it's been so great. The one thing I'll add too is for many of my students, sometimes they struggle with just balancing life. It's so busy, and they have an assignment coming up and they finally have the time to do it. And it might be the night before it's due, and they go on and they've got a question and it's midnight and they're not sure how to get started. Well, now with Sci-Fi, they can plug that question into Sci-Fi and say, I'm having a hard time getting started on my paper. Where do I start, or what's my question? And so it's 24/7 support for our students, which I think is just going to be such a valuable resource. So I just want to thank the DLS team and you, Mike, for your leadership on this and putting us in a position as an institution where we can provide this amazing service and support for our students.
Thank you, Craig. It has been an honor to work on this project, and we are just excited to announce this as one of many things that we're doing to enhance your experience at LAPU. We care about you as a learner. We care about your experience as a professor, which I hope you've felt that from our team. But we care overall that everyone has a good learning experience, and we are excited to introduce Spark to all of our students. And this is just the beginning. This is the first iteration. Your feedback, your engagement, your time playing and using. I don't want to say playing because there's no play happening here. It's fun, but it's learning, and I am blown away every time I just go in just to have fun and you challenge the bot, try to stump it. It's pretty incredible how it keeps me on topic and enhances my understanding of the course topics and that stuff. This is just an incredible tool, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching, man, we encourage you to subscribe to the DLS channel. You're going to see all kinds of fun things that we're doing to enhance learning at LAPU. And we just want you to know that this is what learning feels like. Bless you guys and have a wonderful afternoon.